Talk about screening. Right? Got to put your foot down when you put your foot down. So go ahead, ask your question again.
How would you apply?
Okay. First of all, by actually having real standards, by calling people on their bullshit. So if someone comes 15 minutes late, I'll say, look, we're going to enjoy ourselves tonight. My time is very valuable. I'm sure your time is valuable too. Please make an effort to be on time. I understand things happen, but you know. By the way, 15 minutes is okay, but anything beyond that, I wouldn't put up with it, right? You get it? Or not always being, and sometimes just being unavailable, or saying no. These things are really, really important. Women will respect that. The attitude is, again, speaking my truth is more important to me than getting into your pants. What's that?
So keep it genuine, basically.
Yeah, yeah. Saying no, genuinely saying no to sex, like that thing, I would not only say no, I'd say get the fuck out of here. You understand? That's an example of a clearly disturbed person. You can see it in her mentation and her, well, I don't know, and her inability to follow instructions and her inappropriate, all of it. You can catch it and get it. You understand? So that's an easy screen out. Easy to screen, but you have to screen. Thank you. She's gone. Did security come?
The person is calling for security.
Okay, I don't think she's gone now. Is she not in the building? Is she still hanging around or is she gone?
She went into the restroom and there's a person outside.
Okay. Okay, good. Good. That person's gone. I don't put up with shit. You guys didn't pay for that. Okay, so, but the interesting thing is now, setting all this aside, what I do find genuinely curious about Sophia, I'm serious about this. I'm not playing with you. What I find genuinely interesting and attractive and unique is she's totally okay with being powerful. Listen, this is where the real seduction would take place, except for the fact that she's here as a student. So I can't. So put the idea out of your mind.
Yeah, do the same, please.
Okay, well, it's out of my mind. It's out of both our minds. We're out of our minds, okay? This is interesting to me, because notice, she said that one of the things that's attractive about her, that she finds attractive about, that's uniquely attractive beyond her physical appearance, is she knows how to walk into a room and take command. Did you notice she said that? Right? She actually used the word rule. So she enjoys being powerful. Yes, she has an aspect of her that enjoys being powerful and being in control, command. Say however you want to say it, but right? You like that. Now I have to ask you, this is genuine curiosity, I'm not playing. Is this something you always had or something that you developed for yourself?
I always had the ability to rule, but I had to develop to feel good with it. Because when you're a woman, especially in Germany, I don't know if other countries are like this, everybody says to you or implies to you that you have to be the quiet, good-looking one and not the one who stands up and earns all the money. And
so my question for you is, how were you able to become comfortable with it? How were you able to get, because so many people just can't get there. Something about you, something unique inside you or something you observed, somehow you were genuinely able to get to the place where you were comfortable with having that. How did you do it? I'm not kidding here. As someone who's genuinely interested in personal transformation, this is a genuine question. I'm very curious. How did you do that? Did it happen over a period of time, or was it suddenly you woke up one morning and you were just okay?
It was a period of time. And I'm pretty sure my mother helped me a lot because she's a strong woman too. So I learned from my mother how to develop my own personality. And she always was motivating me. So this is important, I think, when you are there as a child and nobody is motivating you and everybody tries to make you small. It's much harder to get big and to express yourself. But when there's at least just one person who is helping you it helps a lot, and it moves a lot.
So you had a really good role model, someone who encouraged you to be strong.
Yes, and I think also, but I cannot say where it comes from. So this is not, I don't think that this is from my mother. I don't know it.
Right.
So I don't give up. I don't know why. I think maybe, I don't know.
So you would say,
I don't give up.
So you would
I
say
cannot.
that one of your positive qualities is that you know how to feel comfortable taking command, that you don't give up, that you're persistent. That's a second very, very positive quality. But so you have that side of you that can be in command, that can be strong, that can rule. And yet you also have said quite congruently and over many different interactions now that a man who has courage is really attractive to you. And to me that implies that you also know how to let go. As strong as you are in the presence of someone who's strong in a different way or perhaps more strong, you also have discovered the ability to surrender and to let go. Is that accurate to say?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. So this is very interesting. She has two sides of her personality. There's the side that can be commanding and strong, and there's the side that longs to surrender, that wants to surrender. Do you understand? So in the dance of understanding her, you would have to know which one of those is coming out and how to deal with each one. Now, I would guess, it would be my intuition and also just my guess, that it's been difficult for you to find men who know how to deal with both those sides of who you are. Men who know how to be totally fine when you want to be in command and do the ruling, and then men who know how to evoke that sense of surrender in you. And they're okay with both of those. My sense about you is, if you're really going to be with a partner, I'm not talking just about a drunken fling, they have to understand power exchange. Understanding power exchange, when to surrender and when to take that power back and be in control, is very, very important. Surrender and control, changing places in a seamless way so you don't even have to discuss it or talk about it. Would it be right to say that that's not been necessarily an easy thing to find?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So if you were to find that, if you were to find someone who was strong enough to allow you to just let go, and yet at the same time was strong enough, confident enough to let you take control.
Yeah, it would be nice. So work on you guys.
You wash them outright.
I'm listening for what she values and evoking it and taking it out and playing. By the way, is that your phone or its phone? Is that your phone? It's your phone. Okay. All right.
Still a human being.
I know. I know. I'm just teasing. Okay. So you follow? So this is me getting. I'm not kidding here. I am curious about these things, and what I'd be doing. Here's what I'd be doing. If this were a seduction, the more she gets into the conversation, the more I would just talk a little bit more slowly and just begin to pace my talking in time with her breathing and get a little bit more eye contact and maybe look at her lips and turn my sexual state up just a little bit. That's all it would take. That's all it would take. You understand? I wouldn't have to lean on it really heavy or hard, because for her, I'm not kidding, for her, a man who does understand those things and demonstrates that understanding, she has enough sexuality that I don't have to pour gasoline on the fire. All I have to do is show that I'm worthy of what she can let go of and allow to come out. That's all I have to do. And in her case, I would do it by demonstrating my intelligence, by demonstrating understanding, by asking the right kind of questions, by demonstrating that I'm genuinely curious about her answers, and then by demonstrating to her that I understand what her answers mean to her. Hold on, for someone like this, I would know that the appeal would be to her mind, to her sense that, wait a minute, this guy's really sharp. He's sehr klug, very smart. He gets it. He gets me, right? And as I do that, the more I do that, the more she would become really invested in the conversation. I'm just saying, not here in this context, but if you didn't know who I were and we were having this conversation, someone demonstrating that and being playful, not really serious, but also joking around with you at the same time and starting to lean in a little bit and do some of that and demonstrating non-verbally and with body language that I have no fear of escalating sexually, that I see her as a sexual person, and sexual escalation is no big deal to me. If she's not interested, that's fine too. With this type of person who's highly intelligent and she's revealing these things about herself, I'm going to use those answers, and what's going to happen is as that conversation progressed, I guarantee you what would happen is she would shift, and sooner or later I would notice that her body language would be identical to mine. She would get, it's not that I'm creating rapport by matching her body language. It's because we're in rapport that our body language would be virtually identical, right? That's when I would just look at her and just say, you know what, and just pull her into me. Hold on, I see you, and give her that kiss. Or, do you understand? Or that's when I would get more overtly hypnotic with my tone, or look at her lips, or look her up and down, and just say, sometimes I'd say, you know what, you are just too fucking hot, and just pull her into me. And be totally okay with it. And I know she'd be okay with it because I've demonstrated that kind of understanding of her world. Now listen, I don't mean, oh yeah, I understand, woo hoo, hooty hooty hoo 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 hoo. That's not what I'm talking about. Do you follow? Yep. You get me? Mm-hmm. So this is she's a perfect example of that kind of thing.
May I ask you a question?
Yes, you can ask anything you want.
Till now, of course, because you're showing how to do it, we were just talking about me. In a real flirt situation,
yes.
Would you show something real about you? Because
Absolutely, flirt back. Absolutely, go for it. I'll show it for sure. Absolutely. One of my rules is go first. Demonstrate your willingness to, forgive me, expose yourself. Sure, absolutely I would. Yes.
Because this is the thing what I would miss till now. So the rest is great, but I
absolutely go for it. Ask. Sure.
Know anything?
Sure.
Yeah.
Ask. Flirt around. Flirt away. What would you ask? What would you ask me? I would absolutely tell you, truthfully too. I'd speak the truth. I'd sexualize it, but I would speak the truth. Sure. Sure.
Oh yeah. Please tell something that you really enjoyed in your life.
That I've really.
And
that
what was not sex.
Okay, absolutely. No, I will absolutely tell you. I will absolutely tell you about that. Okay. In fact, something that I've become devoted to, not as disciplined as I might want to be, is in 2006, I met my meditation teacher. I was going through a terrible time in my life. My mother had been diagnosed with terminal liver cancer. I was ending a 16-and-a-half-year business partnership with someone who was like a father to me. I was a fucking wreck. And for all my skills at NLP and hypnosis, it never made me any wiser. NLP made me more powerful and more able to command, but it never made me any wiser and any more compassionate. But through a series of different circumstances that aren't worth talking about, I met my meditation teacher, and he taught me this practice. Now, up until that time, I'd always thought meditation is nonsense. Oh, this is for New Age. What's your sign? I'm a vegan. If you're a vegan, no offense, you know. Sloppy thinking. I don't mind a sloppy room, as some of my friends will tell you, but I hate sloppy thinking. I want precise thinking. But here's what happened. He had taught this meditation practice of tuning into emotion, tuning into what's actually going on inside your body. And I remember being in so much pain about what happened was my mother had died. My mother died, And 2 days after that, I found out that my best friend, who was like a brother to me, had been cheating, lying, and stealing from me. So I remember being so unable to move. I couldn't sit to meditate. I lay down, but I did the practice. I just let the pain spread through my body. I didn't resist it. I held my attention on where the pain stopped and held it there. And 20 minutes later, it broke up into waves of the most subtle but satisfying bliss I've ever felt. And for 2 or 3 days, I was able to grieve for everything, but I was okay. And it taught me the practice really, really works. And I've been meditating now, again, not with a lot of discipline, but over that 6 years, I've had a few moments, just a few moments I'm serious, of a peace beyond human understanding. There's moments when my entire sense of self just disappears. And so that's something I'm very devoted to that, and I'm also devoted to seeing people change. I'm sitting up here really, really, really tired and not feeling that well, but it gives me energy to know that people here are transforming and are changing. For someone to come to me, which I get all the time, not all the time, but at least every other week, an email or some other communication where someone says, "You saved my life. I was on the edge, and your stuff." Is there anyone here, by the way, who feels that way, who feels that my material saved their life? Literally. Yeah, that's really rewarding. So does that answer you?
Yeah, I think so. And how did you get the idea
For
of
what?
this speed seduction?
Now, that is not, by the way, that's not a question that would make me particularly interested, because I hear that question all the time. What would be, maybe you're trying to ask this, is not how did I get the idea, but how did you figure all of this out? What's your process for creating new stuff? That would get me intrigued.
Yeah, that's all the same question.
Asking people, creative people, asking them about their process. How did I figure it out? Again, I never quit. You could say it's obsessive compulsive thinking. Once I get the idea, I can't get the idea out of my head. I had to know. And what I do is sometimes I go out into the world and I try something spontaneously and it works. I go home and I figure out what was the principle that made it work. And once I have the principle, then I can just go out and do it deliberately. So sometimes I discover it out in the field. Other times I just get myself into a kind of relaxed state and ideas begin to come to me. So it's a back and forth between thinking about things and then doing things in the world. My creativity works both ways. It's really lots of fun. Right? I would answer all of this, and this is all true. Now, I could slide some stuff in there if I wanted to sexualize the conversation. I'm not, and that's not my intent here. But yeah, I would absolutely answer that. I think getting curious about other people is a great way to open up the possibility of a connection taking place. Getting curious about other people, knowing how to stay grounded in your body no matter what's going on, being willing to step into the unknown without needing a guarantee. When you can move through even some discomfort and not need the other person to have a particular first response, when you can give the other person radical permission to have their first response to whatever it is and not need a guarantee, then something opens. There's a magic in that. There's a genuine magic in being willing to take a risk and giving the other person radical permission. I mean, really, whatever their first response is, that's fine. That's a different kind of courage. It's a different kind of confidence. It's a different kind of magnetism. It's a different way of walking through the world that works on a very, very subtle level. It's not something that anyone could put your finger on the source of that excitement, but it's there. Okay, I had to play a little bit there. Did you hear it? I do have a pattern I sometimes use to get women going over the phone, right? I talk about, it's not necessary to feel your opening for all of that, but if you could, you might find that as you put your finger on the source of that excitement, do you hear the ambiguity? But in this case, I'm not doing that. I'm really not. So don't think about that. Don't think about that. Don't think about sex. Don't think about it. So, but no, absolutely, I would absolutely share those things, because I think a man who's sharing something he's genuinely passionate about, that's attractive. Unless, you know, the woman is stupid or doesn't have any passions herself, in which case I wouldn't bother. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Does that satisfy you?
Yeah, I think this is missing, was missing in
Right.
this whole thing,
Right.
because that's important.
But I appreciate that she's giving me that feedback. I'm fine with it. That's good. She's telling me what she needs to have a better experience, so I'm gonna fucking give it to her. Right? You're a pig. No, you're a good student. Thank you. You've been great. Thank you. Have a seat.
Thank you too.
Yes, dear.
The hotel is wondering if anyone knows the name of the woman who left.
Why? I don't know her name.
Because they want to file an incident report.
Oh, does anyone know her? Camera off?
I'm not a certain.
Camera off. Doug?